Welcome from United Appropriate Body. This is a training video aimed at head teachers on the ECTE and the role of the induction tutor. This video gives an overview of the ECTE. It looks briefly at the statutory entitlements. It looks at the role of the head teacher and then, more importantly, the role of the induction tutor, which is critical for induction. It considers the time commitment for induction tutors and how you can best support them. As of September 2025, the ECF-based training induction has been rebranded as the Early Career Teacher Entitlement, the ECTE. Don't panic, this is broadly the same. Really, it's just been rebranded. So what is it? Well, the ECTE is a 2-year programme that supports ECTs when they start their teaching career. It's designed to develop their professional skills and give them both the knowledge and the skills to ensure that they meet the teacher standards. What does it include? Well, as the last few years, it includes training programme for ECTs. 95% of schools currently use a DFE funded provider. It also includes mentor support for ECTs. And for all new mentors coming in, it provides a training programme which will be a year for those that are on the provider-led route. It ensures that ECTs and mentors have time off timetable for completing activities linked to the ECTE, such as mentor meetings and self-directed study. Finally, and this is the change, is it also rolls in the statutory induction side, which we've had stand separately for the last few years. This means that assessment for ECTs against the teacher standards all come under the same umbrella of the ECTE. All schools must appoint an appropriate body to oversee this. So the training programme is still based on the ECF. It's been changed and upgraded to show progression from ITT to ECF, and so is now named the ITT ECF. It isn't an assessment tool. However, while ECTs are expected to cover all of the ITT ECF, ECTs are assessed against the teacher's standards. So statutory entitlements are still in place for an ECT's induction, and these haven't changed over the last few years. They get a reduced timetable of 10% for year 1s and 5% for year 2s to complete training on the ITT ECF. They receive mentoring weekly in year 1 and fortnightly in year 2. This mentoring is funded by the government. They get support and meetings with an induction tutor, and that induction tutor will complete formal observations. They will give written feedback against the teacher standards, and this will help evidence a progress review or an assessment each term. They also have the entitlement to observe expert teachers. So who's involved in supporting the early career teacher? Arguably, the key person is the induction tutor. They will liaise with the ECTs and feed back to you. Both the induction tutor and yourself liaise with us at the appropriate body to make that judgment about their statutory induction. And we report final outcomes to the TRA. Over the other side, they have their mentor, and they are the person supporting the ECT through the ITT ECF. So what are your responsibilities as head teacher? You've got to check that any ECT has QTS. We run those checks for you on ECT Manager. You have to ensure you've engaged an appropriate body and agreed which ECF programme you'll be using. You need to make sure that the post is suitable for induction. This means that they're teaching, assessing and marking for whole classes like other teachers within your school, alongside other requirements. You need to ensure that your induction tutor has the ability and sufficient time to carry out their role effectively. This is the same for your mentors. You need to ensure that your ECTs can access training on the ITT ECF and ensure all assessments are carried out by your induction tutor and sent to the appropriate body. At the end of 2 years, you'll make a recommendation to the AB about whether the ECT's performance against the teacher standard is satisfactory or whether they require an extension period. As a head teacher, it's important that you participate in the appropriate body's quality assurance procedures. In some cases, if you have ECTs join you from another school, it's important that you obtain interim assessments. Please act early. Alert us at the AB if you have any ECTs that might be at risk of not completing induction. If you do have any ECTs at risk, it's important for you to ensure a third-party observation. Notify us at the AB if you have any ECTs who have absence which total 30 days or more in any academic year, as this will trigger an extension. And if your ECTs move schools between formal assessment points, your induction tutor and yourself will be expected to provide an interim assessment. If you do have an ECT leaving, please make sure that we know. In exceptional circumstances, please liaise with us should you think that a reduced induction period might be appropriate for any outstanding ECTs. The induction tutor has arguably the most important role in supporting your future teachers. They stand there assessing the ECT against the teacher standards. That statutory induction side means that they need to be doing registrations, observations, meetings, report writing. They also have to oversee their training on the ITT ECF. For that, they'll be monitoring engagement and QAing your mentors. Finally, they're there to offer a support network for ECTs, and it should never be underestimated just how much work it is to settle ECTs into your school, problem solve, and check that they're settling in nicely. It's also important, if you've got lots of ECTs, for them to create that environment and community between ECTs so they feel supported. We're going to look at their statutory responsibilities for induction. They're there to provide guidance for an ECT's professional development. They have to carry out regular progress reviews. These occur in terms 1, 2, 4 and 5. At the end of term 3 and 6, so at the end of the first and second year, they need to undertake a formal assessment meeting and complete formal assessments. In progress review meetings at the end of each term, they need to let the ECT know their progress against the teacher's standards and ensure clear targets are set. They should report back those progress reviews and assessments with the ECT, you as head teacher, and us at the appropriate body. Each term, they're expected to observe the ECT's teaching and give feedback against the teacher's standards. They also have to make sure that the ECT is aware how they can raise concerns about their induction programme if they have any. If they think the ECT is struggling, they should discuss this with you and let us know as soon as possible at the appropriate body. Finally, they are asked to ensure that all monitoring and record keeping is streamlined. They don't want ECTs to be producing evidence folders as we used to. Everything should be coming from existing working documents. So a lot of responsibilities for the induction tutor, and that's just the statutory induction side. What does their typical term look like? Well, in half term 1, they should be observing all their year 1 ECTs and any new ECTs that you have joining the school in case there are any problems. They need to give timely written feedback against the teacher standards, and these all go in the ECT induction summary document. In half term 2, they should observe their ECT 1s a second time and their year 2 ECTs. They again get written feedback against the teacher's standards, and these feed into a professional review meeting. This is where they discuss the ECT's progress and set targets before sharing what that report judgment will be. They then have to go away, write the assessment or the progress review referring to evidence. This pings to the ECT so they can read it and write their comment, and then finally comes to us at the AB. We review these progress reviews and assessment and make sure that feedback is given. I think it's really important to acknowledge just how time-consuming the role of induction tutor can be. This breakdown is really helpful for you to consider the time demands there. In half term 1, they should have a meeting with all Year 1 ECTs to set up induction, to share how they raise concerns, to talk about what it will look like. We're looking at a 30-minute meeting minimum. They then observe their Year 1 ECTs and give written feedback. That's about an hour, and this is even before they've met and sat down and discussed these with their ECT. In half term 2, they repeat a second observation, give the written feedback, and then hold the professional review meeting. Following on from this, they need to go away and write their progress review or assessment. So if we think about that, for a Year 1 ECT, that's about 3 hours per term, 3.5 hours in the autumn term with the additional meeting. For a Year 2 ECT, you're looking at 2 hours per term. It's really important here to recognise that we're just talking about timings for the statutory induction side. This doesn't include the ITT ECF monitoring. So what happens if you have large numbers of ECTs? Well, 3 hours a term is completely manageable if you have 1 ECT. If you have 5 ECTs, you're looking at 15 hours. With 15 ECTs in your school, you're looking at about 45 hours a term. These figures are calculated just for Year 1 ECTs to give an overall summary of what the time demands look like. The other side, which we haven't timed in, is the induction tutor's role for training. For this, they have to register ECTs, not just in one place, unfortunately, but on the DfE portal for training with the delivery partner and with an appropriate body. They're asked to organise mentors and all of their training sessions. They're asked to organise the ECT's training sessions. They should be monitoring and challenging engagement of both ECTs and mentors on a weekly basis. Later on in the year, they should be popping into mentor meetings to quality assure the sessions, to consider what targets are being set and see if any additional CPD is needed. They're also there when that ECT knocks on their door to ask those questions, which can be really time consuming. So how can you support your induction tutor? Well, it's there in the guidance. Please try and ensure they have the time they need to do their role effectively. If you have more than 8 ECTs, please consider having several induction tutors. There are pinch points, so at the end of the term when they're writing reports and squeezing in an observation for every single ECT in a half term, could you offer cover? Is it something that SLT can support with? Can observations be shared? And get out with your induction tutor. They're making the judgments about your future teachers, and it can sometimes be really, really difficult. Take them out at the start of the year on a learning walk, just to give yourself the confidence in their judgments as well. There's a lot of information in this presentation, but don't worry, we have a handbook available in the resources section on ECT Manager, or you can scan this QR code. I would save it and make sure that you access it, or just drop us an email if you have any questions at any stage. We're on all the social media platforms, and these can be really useful for sending timely updates throughout the year. So please choose one of these methods and we'll keep you posted. Thank you so much for your time, and remember, please don't hesitate to drop us an email if you have any questions.